Welcome. Oh my god, you guys again? I don't have the time or space to host your little... Oh shit. I did tell Grizzy Boo I'd take over for them. Welcome to Paperback Radio. That eldritch cutie who usually introduces the warm and fuzzy romance stories is visiting all their families for the holidays. You know they have like 1 million. So hi, it's me, your favorite barista. Today's special is called, I know this. I know the name of today's story. Okay, I don't know this. I'm super overwhelmed right now. Like, y'all have no idea how busy coffee shops get this time of year. Especially the cosmic ones, you know? So like, I don't know, tip your servers, be a decent person, and enjoy. LJ Longo's, Coast of Goats, or Deer Cakes. Maybe both. I'm getting mixed messages about the title, and I need to prep Santa's cold brew, or I'm gonna be on the naughty list again, and I am not here for that. Farmer Erickson's goats, bred for their fluffy white wool, their creamy milk, and their inability to swim, were left to wander the seashore because they caused less trouble there. Stephen Kerrigan, bred to wear Armani suits and swear as only a New Yorker can, stomped over the pebbly ground for similar reasons.
Can't believe Emma. How could she kiss that?
He delivered a litany of foul words, but none with as much vitriol as this last.
Plaid.
Stephen had not had a good night. The goats, mouths full of seaweed, were indifferent. The plaid-wearing villain was referred to as Little Emmy's first boyfriend by her whole family. He blended in seamlessly with the brothers, the butter cookies, and the goats, a quaint relic of Emma's life before the city, a too-friendly token of her humble origins, an outgrown toy ridiculously unsuited to the goddess Stephen Kerrigan intended to marry.
After I drove all the way out of this godforsaken plaid.
The goats moved as one salty cloud away from the explosion of words, indignant that their silent night had been shattered. On the phone, Emma had sounded so disappointed when he told her he was going to miss the Christmas Eve flight. There was a surprise meeting with the Japanese partners, and since there had been so much talk of promoting him and both of them moving overseas, Emma had agreed he ought to stay and reschedule the flight for Christmas Day. When the talk of promotions became an offer, Stephen amused everyone when he bowed and begged to leave early so he could ask his fiance's permission to take the job. It was amusing that stern, stoic Stephen Kerrigan would need anyone's permission to take what he wanted. Amusing that he planned on driving nearly 10 hours to tell her in person.
Drive 10 hours to see her making out with a, I cannot repeat this enough, plaid-wearing hick on Christmas Eve?
He was convinced her whole family was laughing at him now, laughing at the New York boy. Emma would laugh the hardest, with that full-throated glee that only her brothers and maybe this plaid-wearing fool could inspire.
Plaid?
Her family had discovered they could put New York in front of anything and call it a joke. New York suit, New York shoes, New York fiance. How long had there been a hometown boyfriend? Stephen slipped on slick pedals. His Oxford, a rich dark brown to go with his festive olive green suit, were not designed for moss and ice and refused to grip the ground. But Stephen, fiercely unwilling to fall, flapped his arms, flailed his legs, and almost caught his balance, several times. In the end, he slid-skated until the foamy sand interrupted the ice. Then he fell face first onto the rocky beach.
Fuck!
He stayed down, silent and sorrowful. When was the last time he fell? An ice skating rink as a child? Drunk in college? Only Emma had the power to make him fall now. Only Emma could disorder his life this way. Only Emma could make him lie face down on a beach, breathing in the cold stones, out of place and in pain. The Ericksons hadn't seen him in the window. All attention had been on Emma, under the mistletoe. Apparently, here it was tradition to make out under leaves. But it wasn't supposed to be a kiss like that. Not arms around her waist, toes off the floor, tongue-parting lips. The thundering wave vibrated through his bones, and a goat pawed near his head. Stephen sighed, accepting the absurdity. In the shimmer of ice and moonlight, Stephen saw his own future clearly. This bitter betrayal would haunt his joy forever. Soon he would walk back to that stupid town, and he would call Japan and accept. He'd drive his rental car back to the city, leave behind this peopleless place, the unwelcomeness of the small town. Then he'd leave New York City before her return. He'd never call her. He'd change his number, block her on all social media, never forgive her. The ultimate ghosting. She'd wonder for years what became of him, what she'd lost. And he would never love again.
That's a bit hasty, don't you think? Yeah, walking on the beach after midnight at the end of December, it serves me right falling on my ass.
It startled Stephen when he looked around and saw no one. He sat on his knees as he would for the Japanese partners, filled with cool, stiff-backed control.
Oh, not that. Never forgiving her.
There was no one around. No one but the goats. The closest splashed in the surf.
Never loving again.
Seaweed dangled from the old goat's blunt teeth, and its dull eyes looked into the distance above the man sitting in the sand. It was huge and white and soggy, and was that a fishtail?
What the fuck are you? A Mer-goat? A Capricorn, bitch?
Slit eyes focused on Stephen, and it was like he was an intern again, as if Stephen had worked his whole life to create a beautiful presentation, but the creature watched it with dull and relentless stoicism.
Don't jump to conclusions, especially when you know you won't back down from them. She was making out with her ex. What other conclusion could there possibly be? Emma comes down here when she's angry too. She sits on those rocks and cries when her brothers and friends tease her. She talks about running away and living in the Natural History Museum. Hey, we go on dates to the Natural History Museum. Bah, good. We approve of you. It goes against your nature. It isn't practical, but face your humiliation and don't punish yourself to punish her. I don't need the approval, or if I'm being frank, the advice from a half-fish, hatchy-ass Mer-goat.
The goat shrugged and flopped into the tide, where it sank with only a small...
Bah.
The other goats, the normal ones, bred by Farmer Relaxin, grew agitated and trotted away as one floofy mass. That's when Stephen saw Emma. She tripped over the stones in an angry ballet, bundled against the cold. She pushed against the crowd of goats, so small and shivering with fury in the moonlight.
Love, like all worthy goals, is hard. Don't give up.
Stephen rose and brushed the pebbles from his suit pants.
Murdering sassafras and all that sort of stuff that we don't talk about around here. And
Emma saw him, and for a moment she looked like a doll, all wide-eyed and innocent.
oh my gosh. Stephen?
Hey, Emma.
Oh, Stephen, I am so glad you're here.
She dashed across the rocks, crashed into his arms. Stephen was startled. Her affection flew in the face of that hot ball of rage in his belly, the rage of humiliation, betrayal.
What are you doing on the beach, Emma?
Headed for the town, so I could rent a car and drive home, probably call you.
Oh, did your meeting end early?
Meeting? What meeting? It had seemed so important at the time.
Why are you driving? It's Christmas Eve, Emma, your family.
Well, they're a bunch of...
My ex got handsy under the mistletoe, so I hit him.
Oh, really? That son of a bitch, I'll kill him myself.
He's not worth the price of a defense lawyer. But get this, Tommy got mad at me for hitting his friend. Can you believe that? And then Mom lost her temper because I'm starting fights with my brothers, so I'm ruining the holiday. And Dad... Anyways, we're driving back tonight.
No. Let's get a hotel in the town. Let you cool down. Try to get along in the morning.
You know what, Stephen? That's a good plan. You know what a better plan is? We go home.
Don't give up.
Stephen threaded his arm in hers, grateful when she cuddled into him. Soon he would tell her about his good news, about how she'd miss her idiot parents and stupid brothers and this god-forsaken goat-infested beach. But for now, he enjoyed the weight of her on his arm.
'Tis the season to, forgive people. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Love isn't, always easy.
Stephen Kerrigan, what are you talking about? Holy cow, did you hit your head?
Yeah, I did actually, on the rocks, and okay, that's blood. Let's get inside and check to see if I'm concussed or something. You won't believe this. I thought a goat was talking to me. Thousand sacred deer, tame enough to bow and eat rice cakes from tourists. drift aimlessly through Nara Park and end up in many pictures. Emma Erickson, tame enough to follow her man in exchange for a promise of marriage, did much the same.
I live in Kyoto. No, dear. I mean your real home, Maine. Roughly 6,550 miles away from here.
The tourist blinked in awe, then typed that into her phone too and said, "Thank you," in several different ways, and went on her way. Emma wondered how many Instagrams had photos of a portly blonde American along with the sacred deer. Maybe with enough time, she'd become part of the tourist draw.
Go for the deer, look for the blonde.
She sighed, feeling melancholy and sad in spite of the lush natural park. The little doe wandering nearer to her was oblivious.
No rice cakes.
Emma waved her hands to show they were empty. The deer cocked her head as if the idea of emptiness confused her. Emma walked away from the deer and sat down on a park bench. Then, because depression made her tired and the heat lamp by the bench made her warm, she tilted her head back and closed her eyes. Stephen hadn't done anything wrong. She liked to travel and have adventures. She enjoyed working remotely and seeing more of Asia than anyone from Maine had any right to. Her brothers would certainly never get a chance to see Nara Park and have a deer poke its wet nose into their hands.
No rice cakes.
Her brothers would probably shoot the deer. Emma waved her hand again to say goodbye. The doe only looked up at her with huge, innocent eyes, slightly hurt and betrayed. That's how Stephen had looked at her when she said she hadn't even started on the wedding invitations. He'd spent most of the year getting her to pin down a date and a location, because she couldn't manage to be interested in planning the wedding. Sometime around Thanksgiving, he had the very good idea of handing out the invitations in person with the gifts when they unwrapped everything at Christmas. But she had never started making them, just like she hadn't looked at the wedding magazines, just like she hadn't picked a color or a theme, and Stephen had looked at her, utterly confused by her lack of enthusiasm, and asked, "Don't you want to get married?" And stupidly, she'd said,
I don't know.
Emma sighed. Someday she'd be the type of woman who deserved Stephen Kerrigan. She'd be the picture of discipline, a woman who knew how to pick out flowers and could lose that last 15 pounds and look elegant in a wedding dress. She would someday gain control over her emotions and her desires to run away. Someday she wouldn't spontaneously jump on a train and go to a park 45 minutes from her home because she couldn't bear the expression of confused terror she'd brought to her fiance's orderly face. Someday she'd get a planner and eat the same healthy foods every day and have dinner at the same time every day and grow fruit and vegetables without killing them and remember people's birthdays and never lose her wallet, and she'd be
miserable, don't you think?
Emma knew no one was talking to her. She didn't know anyone in Japan except Stephen and his co-workers, and none of them were in Nara Park.
Don't you think you would be happier if you were more who you are and less who you're not?
Emma opened her eyes and then turned her head and looked at the deer standing next to the bench. The doe posed gracefully, then bowed her head and looked up expectantly. Emma rubbed her eyes.
Oh, I must have dozed off. Yes, do the planner if that helps for remembering birthdays. Birthdays are important.
The deer had a light, airy voice and nibbled on Emma's coat sleeve.
Rice cracker? Shouldn't you speak Japanese at least? Shika-senbei?
The deer licked her own nose and bowed her head once more. Emma reached into her pocket and found a rice cracker. The deer took it and then curled up at Emma's feet and chomped it down. Her white tail flickered and those huge eyes darted left and right. Just as Emma was certain she had imagined everything, the deer said,
Also, this Stephen man, he loves you as you are. Why would you want to be someone else? Well, not so much want to be someone else, just be myself, but better. And this is done through planners? And through growing fruit and vegetables without killing them?
Emma pushed her blonde hair out of her face and considered what she wanted to say to the deer. She didn't want to give the doe bad advice, or have her take away the wrong impression of Americans.
Not those things exactly, but being dependable and having the right answers. I want to be the kind of person who doesn't look her fiance in the eye and say, I don't know, like a moron, when he asks, do you still want to get married?
The deer snickered silently.
Which I do. I want to be married to him. I'm having trouble carrying about that party part. Marriage, if done properly, is very final. It is an arrow that once released will fly on its path and cannot be returned to the bow to travel another path. Rice cake?
The deer nosed her hand, and Emma stroked the coarse brown fur.
You are not worried about picking the wrong flowers or looking less than elegant in a dress. You are thinking of the paths you cannot take again. Yes. What should I do? Rice cracker?
Emma sighed and reached into her pocket and gave the doe another treat. Her little white tail flickered with joy as she chewed.
It is against your nature to stand in one place, to give yourself over to another person. But if you cannot face the fear of belonging to someone, you cannot have the joy of belonging to someone. That's obtuse advice and makes no sense. Shika sembe. Baby, I told you, I got no more rice crackers.
They sat in silence, and Emma tilted her head back on the bench again.
Oh!
Emma jerked her head up, certain she had dreamed the entire conversation. The deer remained sitting beside the bench, blinking at her.
Hi, Stephen. How's work?
Don't be mad at me. I'm at the deer shrine place, too.
Oh my gosh, you are? How did you know?
I saw the charge for the train ticket and decided to take a half day and follow you. Don't be mad. I want to give you the space you need to flourish. That was Emma's phrase, and it sounded stiff and strange from Stephen's mouth. But also, I wanted to spend some time with you. She did feel a flash of anger. She felt the stifling push and almost made the choice she knew she was already regretting. But then the deer butted her hand.
Love, like all worthy goals, is hard. It requires some giving. No, I'm glad you're here, Stephen. I was stupid this morning, and I really do want to marry you. Really, really want to marry you. I love you.
Good. I mean, I love you too, and ow! It bit me. One of these damn deer bit my ass.
Well, it's a juicy ass.
She laughed and started to walk towards the train and the green railing where she could see a tall man dressed in a black suit flailing his hands at a mob of deer.
Shika sembe, rice cracker. Give them the rice crackers in your hand and stop teasing them.
I got them for you to... Okay. The doe that had been sitting by the bench got up and walked along with Emma as she wandered towards her fiancé. The deer then formed a moat around him and seemed more docile when he started handing out the cakes.
I made a decision about the wedding.
I came out here to tell you no pressure. We could be engaged as long as you want. No pressure from me at all. What does it mean when they bob their heads up and down like that? Are they about to attack? Is this a mob situation?
No, they're saying thank you. And I want to thank you for not pressuring me. I know it's hard for you to feel out of control.
Well, some people are worth feeling out of control for, you know?
And some people are worth making decisions for.
Emma kept her heart from melting entirely. Kept herself from slipping into the soft escape he had so kindly given her. She said very seriously and with a great deal more confidence than she felt.
I've decided I want to hire a wedding planner. I want the theme to be springtime with purple and white and pink everywhere and a chocolate cake and meatloaf and chicken parm and whatever else you want to eat. I don't care. I don't want to make another single decision about the wedding.
Stephen saw her and started walking towards Emma, the herd of deer following him. Great, sounds great. You still have to pick a dress or just wear a white suit or something. It doesn't matter to me. Go in a bath towel if you like. You'll look beautiful. We could do a potluck if you wanted, just as long as you're happy. Then he was near enough to hang up his phone. If you're happy, I'm happy. Emma hugged him and felt so warm and comforted by his confidence. His strength, the business-like attitude of his suit and tie. He kissed her, and the deer bowed and pranced around them, looking adorable, and confused and hungry and wise. Stephen smiled at her and then squinted and brushed some sleepies out of her eyes. Did you fall asleep outside?
Maybe.
In winter?
Oh, like it's never happened to you, goat man. Hiya, I'm LJ.
And I'm Lane McLeod Jackson.
You're a troll.
What? I thought it was funny.
We're here to let you know you can also find us on Substack under
Paperback Productions.
Yep, this podcast and other goodies will be delivered right to your inbox if you subscribe.
So please support us.
Emotionally.
Financially.
Dramatically. See, I can be funny too.
Try to be professional, okay, babe? Thank you all for your support.
Matt.